if you combine the one day percentage drop of the PSE in 1997 and 2008, yung intraday drop kanina is even larger. We haven't seen anything like this, like 24% down. The largest one-day drop before was in 2008, was around 12.7, 12.3%.
Dividends come from the earnings of the company. So kung humihina ang kita nila, humihina din yung capability nila makapagbigay ng dividends katulad ng dati. So that's one thing that investors have to remember. You have to remember which of these dividend-paying companies ba are really, really stable. So siguro a quick glance at their financial statements, no? A look at their net income, stuff like that, to see na kung the past 5 years ba, steady naman yung growth ng net income, di naman wala namang drastic drops or whatever.
Ayan, we're good. Okay, good evening, gentlemen. No, it's such an honor that we have very, very distinguished and handsome and very people in the vlog. And yun, today is a very, very, I hindi naman special but historical day because ayun nga, the markets were pummeled also, and there's a lot of news, there's a lot of negativity going around also. And the reason why we're doing this is so that people at least hear your thoughts, hear insights on what's happening in the markets. So yun lang, as simple as that. And then I'm gonna go one by one lang, and on what should people be doing now. And then siguro for people, ano na rin, you could also introduce yourself so that people know who you are as well. We'll start na lang with Jacob. What's your take on what's happening? Is this something similar to what you saw in 2008, the 2008 crash?
Well, hi, I'm Jacob. I think this is, the panic right now is a lot. It's more compared to 2008. I had been there. I can remember my first week during as a professional in the stock brokerage industry. Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. And we saw 12% drop. The first ever circuit break, I was there. So I remember it. But I think the big difference right now compared to before is, before it's only contagion effect. The panic is coming from the global markets. It started in the United States. And even if you compared what happened right now to the Asian financial crisis, but I wasn't there. Ano pa lang ako, like grade 4. I'm just kidding. Anyway, the reason for the drop for those two periods were mostly financial. This time it's different. It's a disease. So the trigger right now is a disease. So I think the fear right now is more because it's really fear of the unknown. It's not only a threat to the financial markets, but it's a threat to livelihood. It's a threat to the economy. And right now, I think as the lockdown or quarantine goes on, you will see a threat for security. Because magkakaroon naman ngayon ng there might be some peace and order problems.
Is that true? I've been getting a lot of messages already na may mga parang unrest on certain areas.
I've been receiving a lot of messages also, although some of those are fake. But it's a natural behavior. It's a natural behavior since tandaan nyo, maraming gutom mahirap. What will you do when you're gutom, diba? So I think we're really in an unprecedented situation right now. So the market is reacting differently.
Is this so? That being said, yung drop natin also is based on the context more of fear already, and parang lahat ng fundamentals are thrown out the window already, lahat ng growth.
Yes. That kind of fear. It's really the panic for example, if you combine the one day percentage drop of the PSE in 1997 and 2008, yung intraday drop kanina is even larger. We haven't seen anything like this, like 24% down. The largest one-day drop before was in 2008, was around 12.7, 12.3%. In 1997, it was below 9% in one day. Kanina is 24%. And if you're trading, nakita mo na wala ng bids. Like JG Summit, wala ng bid, wala ng buyer. Kaya nag-low siya ng 20-something di ba? So it's really different right now. And I think the selling earlier was a combination of there's a pent-up selling since foreign funds are trying to get out. The Philippines MSCI ETF in the US really went down a lot. So you have big redemptions from Philippine funds, local funds. And supposedly what saved us from last week's drop is the pension funds or the government financial institutions. They weren't really present kanina. So I think the local funds were expecting some support from them, but it really did not come. So lahat yon with the panic, with the quarantine, kasi this is something new. I don't think anyone has, except those yung martial law, but anyone 1986 and above haven't experienced this kind of scenario. So this is something different.
Okay. Robbie,
Yeah.
yung drop kanina, do you think also it can be contributed kasi we were closed for 2 days and habang closed tayo ng 2 araw, bumabagsak yung US markets also. That's why parang naipon siya and sentiment did not also follow. Kaya that unprecedented drop also for today.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Robbie, by the way, from First Metro. No? So I believe it contributed to that, to the massive sell down kanina, especially since one of the reasons why we shut down the stock market for 2 days is because of the fears of the virus spreading further toward Metro Manila. So talagang there was already that concern na, this is something serious. This is something we have to be very, very proactive with. Kaya understandably, the investors were very scared over the past 2 days. Tapos we saw news reports coming in that in the US cases were increasing, in Europe cases were increasing also. Tapos even in the Philippines, we're starting to see cases in Mindanao, in Visayas. So all of those things really combined to really tell investors na this virus is something that we have to be very, very careful about. And so, usually, ang interpretation kasi pagka medyo unpredictable, pagka driven by fear, is the inclination to sell. So, I really do think it contributed to the sell down that we saw. Kasi I think after 2 minutes pa lang when the market opened kanina, we already had our circuit breaker. No? So, nag-trading halt agad tayo. 2 minutes, di ba? So, talagang doon natin makikita na nangangati na yung investors magbenta. They really were just waiting for 9:30 to strike, and then they were really going to sell their investment, to sell their shares, and probably move them to some other safer asset that they consider to be. So, yun. So, I think it really contributed to that, no? Especially since wala naman tayong masyadong good news na nabalitaan over the past 2 days.
Now, my question is this naman. If you are a retail investor, and this video really is catered to retail investors also, bumili sila ng mas mataas, tapos now they have a paper loss. Hindi naman nila kailangan yung pera. What they placed is something also that is an excess. Parang may emergency fund naman sila, may sweldo pa rin sila. What do you suggest that they should do right now? Would it be more prudent that they sell, take away the money, be in the sidelines first, wait until this clears off? Or would it be good to stay the course, hold their position, hanapin nila yung mura, tas bilhin na lang nila ulit later on? There's no right or wrong answer. It could be contradicting answers, but what's important lang is people see your styles on anong ginagawa nyo. Tapos pag may makita tao, okay yan kay Jacob, I think I'll follow that. Or okay yan kay Robbie, I'll follow that also. what would you do if you were in that position and then you're a retailer na meron ka namang ibang source of income also? Who wants to go first? Sino mas mayaman?
Jacob.
Marvin!
I like your shirt, Axe Capital. Okay, okay.
Yeah. I specifically wore this today.
Ko nga eh. Siguro I can go first, no?
Okay, go.
Siguro for investors, now would be the perfect time to really reassess your portfolio. Now is a very, very good time to really understand why you are in the stock market in the first place, no? So, assuming na you bought when stocks drop, siguro what you were seeing was value, no? So if you saw last week that the index was at 5,300 na lang, 5,000, tapos you decided na, uy, 5,000 na lang ang index, nung January 7,000 siya, mura na siya ngayon, I want to buy now. So most likely you were buying it on the basis of it being a good value. So usually kasi pagka value investor ka, you're a bit more willing to hold for the longer term. You're not really looking after making a lot of money in a short period of time, no? So with that said, no, if you have holdings right now and you're experiencing maybe 15, 20, 30% na paper loss, I don't think it would be a wise idea to sell right now, no? One thing we have to remember, sabi nga ni Jacob kanina, we are way past valuations. Diba? We are way past valuation. So the stock market is dropping not because people believe it's expensive, but because people are just afraid of this virus that's gripping the nation, gripping the world. So yun yung reason. So siguro naman, no, over the next few weeks, over the next few months, we're going to see some good news in terms of recovery rates ng mga nai-infect, yung infection rate baka naman bumagal. So if you subscribe to that idea, if you believe that this is something that will eventually blow over and something we will get past with, I don't think you should sell. And I think what you should be doing right now is assessing which stocks you really want to hold for the next maybe 3 to 5 years. Because it's probably going to be rare that some of the best companies in the country will be this cheap for a very, very long time. So talagang now is a good time to really study. What do you think is going to what stocks do you think are going to benefit once the economy recovers, once the country recovers from this illness?
Thank you. Well said. So basically, just to recap that, no, it's basically looking at what company that you like and you think that will very, very do well. And since they're doing well, tas mura sila ngayon, it would be prudent to invest for it. Not kung anong kikitain niya for the next 6 months already, but you're positioning for something very, very long. Okay.
Yes.
Jacob, sabi ni Robbie, ikaw din sobrang yaman eh.
No. Si Marvin yan. Anyway, siguro to add lang to what Robbie said, no? For me, you have to basically assess din first. You mentioned kanina yung you have savings. But you have to take note, you must have extra savings right now. So, you must assume na at least 6 months ka na ganito yung activity. Diba? And then, even if you're a businessman, you should assume that yung business mo will have minimal cash flow for the next 5-6 months. You should assume the worst. Pero pag okay, well, so kung wala ka sa level nun, kung hindi ka ganun ka-secure sa cash level mo, ang suggestion ko, huwag mo na lang muna tingnan yung market. Prioritize mo muna yung cash flow kasi, well, you have to take care of your household first, di ba? Hindi naman mawawala yung rent mo pag nag-amortize ka ng bahay, hindi naman mawawala. So, prioritize mo muna yun. Assume mo na wala munang income na papasok sa'yo. Kasi that's different eh. That's different when you have savings and you have a regular scenario, like, may cash flow ka, may business ka, may kung ano man. Even if, for example, you're doing insurance, wala ka naman mamimit na tao masyado ngayon eh, di ba? I mean, so yung cash flow mo, assume mo na it will be severely limited. So, knowing that, if you're not confident about your cash level, stay out of the market muna. It will be more prudent to get in the market once there is a clear direction, like it's a clear reversal.
Mhm.
Kasi ako, I really believe that you cannot really fish naman for the bottom. It's really, really hard to predict. Even the seasoned investors, the seasoned professionals, it's very hard to predict the bottom.
Ano
So,
mo predict? Love life or stocks?
parang love life pang... hindi. Hindi, mahirap din yan eh. Girls are hard to predict. I'm just kidding.
Patay! Patay! Madami makakita nito. Okay, anyway.
Oh, my wife might... anyway, so assuming you're confident with your cash, di ba? If you don't have much surplus cash, better wait for a sign of reversal. Number one. If you're a newbie investor, like you only have few years experience. Kasi tandaan mo yung experience mo if you've just started in the stock market in the last 5 years, marami feeling genius kasi bull market di ba? There's a saying that bull market makes a lot of people feel like they're geniuses, di ba? So, if you don't really have much experience, I suggest you just buy index UITF in tranches. If you really don't know what you're doing. And then if you're a newbie trader naman, just leave the trading right now to the professionals. Like, I have a good friend, Miko Sayo. Nag-day trade siya kanina and he made money. Leave it to them, yung mga ganong professionals. Pero if you're not that comfortable about your skills, wait for a sign of reversal. But if you have a lot of surplus money, 2020, ako lagi ko sinasabi, 2020 is a great opportunity. You just don't know when, but if you're willing to buy now, buy from March until, assuming you have cash until mga May, and then hold it for like 2 to 3 years, I think you'll eventually do well. But you must be able to resist the temptation of going all in. Ako, I don't believe in pag sinabing, all in na. I don't believe in that eh. I always subscribe to the idea na do it in tranches because you will never know. If you have, for example, X budget, nag-drop yung market ng 20% kanina, you used 15% of your budget. Tapos, pag nag-drop pa ulit, maybe 10%. And then, reserve some ammo for the next 2 months. Kasi you'll never know eh. But at the end of the day, ang tingin ko talaga, if you look at the history, may history of mankind pa eh, no? If you look at the history of mankind, all epidemics, pandemics eventually peak. You just don't know when. Now, there are various scientific models circulating that their projection is around June. But before we reach June, it will spike up exponentially. So you have to be prepared for that. And sabi nga ng mga experts, what we are seeing right now in the Philippines, we're just in the take-off stage. We're far from being exponential. So you should prepare yourself and the market investors prepare for a lot of volatility. As COVID cases increase, reported, makakakita ka ng volatility dyan. And then, marami naghihintay for the vaccine. Right? Honestly, I'm in no position or that's not my field of expertise. I don't know when to predict a vaccine will come. And usually, the markets are ahead. Pag nagkaroon ng vaccine announcement, the market most likely would have bottomed already. But what I do know is, valuations kanina, the lowest point is already 8.4 times PE. That is the lowest. It's even lower than 2008 and lower than 1997. So this is really unprecedented. What happened today is history. This is the lowest drop, lowest valuation in the probably entire PSE history.
Now,
but I'm not saying it's not gonna go lower. It may. But as it go lower, your risk reward is getting more favorable.
Here's an interesting question. For example, Ayala Land kanina nag-20 pesos. Would you say that, number one, Ayala Land, pasok ka bala mo with the risk that at 20, baka mag-18, baka mag-16 siya. Pero, yung upside mo is much, much higher already than the risk that is there. That's my next question. And then, aside from that, you said people need to have bala. Both of you can answer this. You need to have bala. Pero do you focus that on just one stock na titirahin mo for the next 6 months? Or do you suggest that whoever becomes cheaper, for example, Pure Gold 27, nag-18 pa yung Pure Gold, you go into that, or SM Prime nag-15. Whoever becomes cheaper, that's where you allot more money into. Ganon. So whoever.
Okay. Okay. Sige. So for me, no, in terms of I think right now would be a good time to really look at the technicals of the market and of the individual stocks. Like Jacob said nga, it's better to be buying when there are clearer signs of reversal. Ang kagandahan or relatively good thing about what's happening right now is it's very, very easy to determine what's causing the drop in the market. So it's not something you wonder about. Why is the stock market dropping? Bakit ba siya bumabagsak? I don't get it. No, at this point in time, sobrang clear na bumabagsak ang market because people are gripped with fear. And so if the reason for the stock market falling is the virus, I'm assuming it will also be the reason that it will start going up. So it should start going up once we start receiving good news in terms of yun, kung may vaccine ba and effective naman yung vaccine, yung mga nadadiagnose biglang nakaka-recover naman, tumataas ang recovery rate, infection rates are getting lower. So once we start seeing signs like that, I believe that the stock market will be primed to start going up again. And once na medyo nagkaroon na tayo ng idea na, Ayala land at 20 or Ayala land at 15 or whatever right now, tapos combine that with the fact that the news is getting better, that's the time we really assess na, baka maganda na talaga yung risk-reward ratio ko dito. And that might be a good entry point. In terms naman of putting all your money in one company lang, of course, kung ako tatanungin, I would like to diversify. There are a lot of different companies naman in the Philippine stock market. There's lots of good companies there. So I would look at those companies na prior to the drop, medyo nasa uptrend, medyo mataas ng konti yung PE ratio. Because that means there was a lot of investor confidence before this all went haywire, no? So most likely sila din yung mga mabilis mag-recover kasi sila yung mga favorite ng investors, sila yung mga popular, and they are integrated in industries that are set for high growth. Kasi actually on the part of First Metro Securities, we were actually very, very bullish about the stock market for this year. Before nag-spread itong coronavirus na to, we were actually looking at the market reaching our previous high of around 8,000 plus to 9,000. So that's how we believe the stock market should have gone without this virus present. So although of course, given na mukhang maglalast talaga ng isang quarter yung virus, so medyo naka-apekto na talaga siya sa industry, sa economy natin. In fact, here in Davao, our mayor just recently announced that malls would be temporarily closing down. No? So ayun na, nag-uumpisa na yung mga measures ng government to really stop the spread, but in turn, I'm sure it will affect the revenues of these listed companies. So yun yung mga bagay na kailangan natin makita lang na once na maging better ba ang sitwasyon, ano ba yung mga industries, ano ba yung mga companies na mas mabilis magre-recover. So diyan na ngayon papasok siguro yung mga consumer goods. You might want to look at consumer goods companies like what you mentioned, Sir Marvin, yung Pure Gold, pwedeng Ayala Land din, SM Prime Holdings, Universal Robina. Yun yung mga medyo naapektuhan ngayon kasi hindi masyado lumalabas yung tao, medyo takot sila. So once na things normalize, they should also be the ones that recover faster than the others.
Tsaka yung importante guys na malaman nyo na sa mga nanonood, no, kahit anong mangyari si Jacob Yedra at saka Robbie Santos, hindi sila apektado. They're part of the economy. Kasi, ayan, nakakapanood kayo ng mga sobrang yaman na mga individual.
No.
Si Marvin yon.
Oo nga, si Marvin yon, si Marvin.
Jacob, go! Jacob.
Well, for me, to add lang, no, kasi what Robbie said is very good na. To add lang, in terms of putting in one stock or whatever, for me, I don't believe in that because I think it's a bit overconfident because if you put your money in just one or two stocks, it assumes that you're 100% correct. Parang ina-assume mo na tama na yung stock pick mo. So, a little diversification won't hurt.
Parang asawa ko
And
yun
then,
100% correct.
Hindi, iba yung sa ano, iba naman yung sa, iba yun sa'yo. Dapat 100% ikaw naman.
Ano lang,
Iba yung sa stocks. So, well, actually, I agree to what Robbie said. To add lang din, so, it's really hard to predict when the bottom is, right? But there are some signs. For me, you can look at psychological signs. If when the market was like 7.5, it went down. Sabi naming lahat, sabi ko, sabi ni Robbie, sabi ni Marvin, buy on dips, buy on dips. Nung nag 6.5, dalawa na lang kami nagsasabi. Nung nag 5,000, ako na lang yung nagsasabi. Pag dumating yung point na wala nang gustong magsabi na very confident, no, this is a buy, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I think that's time na a lot of investors gave up. And usually when people give up na, that's usually sign that it turns. Kasi di ba we have that stock market psychologist chart. Di ba? Yung euphoria and then denial, panic, may depression, something. Pag nasa depression level na tayo, I think that's a good time to start getting some na.
Amazing. I'll end this with two questions and then one final one later. So parang tatlo na lang. Tatlo sa labo ko, no. Number one is ano naman strategy ng mga tao na yung pinaka-goal naman nila is really dividends, and some stocks naman that have dropped, their dividend yields now are attractive. Do you tell them to stop since dividends naman habol nila and then their yields are very, very good? Tapos bonus naman, there are people kasi nahabol lang nila yung cash flow, tapos bonus na lang yung appreciation later on eh. Then second, for people who are doing peso cost averaging na wala naman sila, yung narrative nila is, I'll just put, what's your advice for them? Na yung ano kasi sa peso cost is, pag mataas yung market, yung comment is, mahal naman nito pero bibiling ko pa rin ba? Tapos yung ngayon naman, bagsak naman yung market, should I put? So at least two classifications for those that are buying because habol nila dividends na may cash flow, like for example, yung PLDT kanina like 800 plus, so the yields of that, and assuming that everyone is at home right now, tayo kung wala naman crisis, di naman tayo magsi-streaming, lahat ito nag-habit eh. So I really believe that data usage plus the earnings attached to that will do very, very well. Hence, baka dividends nila for next year might be also better. Anyways, what's your thoughts on that? Probably a few minutes for each also. Go.
Okay. Siguro for me, when it comes to dividend-paying stocks, one thing we have to remember before selecting a stock that gives out dividends is that dividends come from the earnings of the company. So kung humihina ang kita nila, humihina din yung capability nila makapagbigay ng dividends katulad ng dati. So that's one thing that investors have to remember. You have to remember which of these dividend-paying companies ba are really, really stable. So siguro a quick glance at their financial statements, look at their net income, stuff like that, to see na kung the past 5 years ba, steady naman yung growth ng net income, di naman wala namang drastic drops or whatever. Assuming that the company that you're looking at is that stable, so for example, sila Globe, ganon, like you said, medyo malakas ang gamitan ng data tsaka ng mga Netflix ngayon. So, assuming that you believe that this company is capable of earning the same amount of money or maybe even more over the next coming years, okay lang naman mag-invest or okay lang naman bumili right now or when it goes lower pa because you're buying for the dividends. Pero if you're seeing na, this company is losing revenues, decreasing its revenues, it's not making as much money as before, the trend seems to be changing, baka merong nangyayaring fundamental shift dun sa company na yon, and that might eventually hamper their ability to provide the same level of dividends that you're expecting. But overall, no, yon, I would like investors to really invest in dividend-paying companies that have the good likelihood of making a lot of money later on. Para kahit bumagsak man sila, malamang sila din yung unang makaka-recover when the market recovers. Kasi baka din naman invest sa mga dividend-paying stocks tapos biglang kinailangan mo yung pera, hindi mo ma-liquidate kasi capital loss ka. So baka naman lugi ka pa when you liquidate at a loss. Nabawi lang din yung hinintay mong dividends over the past years. So that's something that dividend investors might want to consider when selecting the stock.
All right. Jacob.
Well, I have a bit different take. I'm not much of a fan of buying common stocks for dividends because my logic for that is any dividend that you make can easily be wiped out by a capital loss on a crisis or a downturn. For example, if you're buying companies with, for example, you bought PLDT when it was 2,000. It's giving you 6% dividend yield. Pero ngayon, kalahati na lang yung pera mo. Hindi sayang lang, di ba? So, ang point ko, if you want the cash flow, edi mag-preferred shares ka na lang. Or kaya you go into corporate bonds. Kasi if ang habol mo talaga is cash flow, not really trading or investing for capital gains, if you want the security, mag-ano ka na lang. Some preferred shares can give you like 6%, right? 6-7%. Some corporate bonds, Ayala bonds, San Miguel bonds can give you 5%. Hindi doon ka na lang. But if you're gonna put your money hoping for a steady cash flow and then common stocks, I think for me I would suggest different approach na lang.
Okay.
That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's nice about that's what's nice about this also. Kaya it was nice na sa Nisha na disconnect yata siya. She had a problem with her audio. But it's nice to hear different strategies because we're all different and there will be people here that makita nila, what Robbie says makes sense. Meron naman yung kay Jacob also makes also sense for them. So yun lang yung maganda that they can find something that will work for them kasi ganoon naman sa market kahit pareho pinag-aralan natin iba-iba yung magiging outcome nung how we would analyze it. Just to put everything to a close, people are madaming takot, madaming nagpa-panic. Any words of encouragement for them? It could be for stock investors, it could be for people then in general na their business might be down today, they're not doing so well. What would you want to leave with them also? Lalo na I don't know, sobrang dami. I got so many messages that they're so depressed right now. Some of them which financial planning wise medyo mali din naman, they put their life savings into the market and then they lost 60% of their entire savings already. What do you want to leave with them also?
Siguro right now is so right now would be a very good time to remember to really diversify and take control of your finances properly. So katulad nga nun, in investing kasi dapat yung ini-invest natin pera talagang extra lang dapat natin siya. So we need to make sure that we have something when emergencies arise. So in this case, this is a big emergency talaga. So right now, just keep the faith, no? Just really focus on how you can get better, no? And focus on how you can avoid making the same mistakes in the future.
Right, galing. Jacob Yadra, super yaman.
Hindi. Usually nagsasabi nun siya yung pinakamayaman.
Oo nga eh. Nanunuro eh.
Post lang, nga lang ako, facilitator lang of great minds. Like, guys, they're super smart talaga and whatever they say is really worth listening to as well. So go, Jacob.
So for me naman, my last statement is more holistic. It's not really the market per se, but I really believe in human ingenuity and resilience. And whatever's happening right now, how bleak as it may seem, innovations, solutions will come along the way. People will rise up. And eventually, we will be able to figure this out. We will be able to overcome this. And years from now, magiinuman tayo, mapag-uusapan natin to and we are smiling. Just to give you an example, 2009.
Over CBTL.
CBTL.
Just to give you an example, a lot of people don't remember the 2009 H1N1 swine flu pandemic. Would you believe that it affected 10 to 20% of the world's entire population? The estimated deaths of during that 2009 pandemic is 200,000 to 500,000 people. Yung COVID, wala pang 10,000. And right now, not a lot of people even remember H1N1, di ba? So parang eventually, we will be able to overcome this. And if you believe that the companies like SM, Ayala will not go bankrupt in the next 5 years, then this year is a good opportunity.
Galing. Sabi nga ni Wilson, di ba? Opportunity of a lifetime, di ba? So, yun na lang. Thank you so much, guys, for your insights. I hope that whoever's listening to this is something that adds value to you. Kasi yun lang naman yung gusto nila din na you know what you're getting into. And just to end, but I forgot to say this. How can they contact you? Number, email, if may questions sila. How can they go about it?
Ako pwedeng Facebook or IG.
Okay, Facebook, Jacob Viedra. I'll put it in the description below. Or if you want more of Jacob in this channel, comment, I want Jacob. How about you, Robbie? How can they contact?
Ako pwede din, Facebook, Robbie Samson, or you can reach me via email, rsamson@firstmetrosec.com.ph.
Okay.
So if you have any questions about the stock market, feel free to shoot me an email.
Okay, I'll put it in the description below if you want to contact them. Guys, wala kayong problema sa kanila. Super galing. So, yun lang, to those...
Wag lang love life, si Marvin lang magaling.
Oo nga.
Those who are watching, I hope this video helps you and it adds so much value to you. So, see you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.